Hello everybody, this is Jacob from Winterby This here, and today I'm going to bring you a CRAPS video about something I've been hearing a lot on other channels like CRAPS and even on the CRAPS chat stuff with Dice Degen. This is about situational awareness on the CRAPS table. So this is something I want to talk about this because some people that have a problem with any type of gambler's fallacy should have a problem with this. Situational awareness, if you believe that every roll is independent of the last, it really has no bearing, right? Now, if you don't believe that, if you do believe that there are factors that matter there, that every roll isn't independent of the last, then this video can make some sense. But if you believe that every roll is independent of the last, then this won't matter. There's no such thing as situational awareness on the CRAPS table then. But I'm going to talk about some situations today, and I'm going to roll out some that are situations that I think matter. All right? And I think that if you pay attention to these situations, you'll be a better CRAPS player and you'll make more money. So the first one I want to talk about is length of roll situational awareness. So this is one of the things that they get talked about a lot is length of roll situation where, okay, it's already went 5 or 6, 7 rolls. Shit, it's time to get my money out, right? Because you're past the natural average of the 7 at that point. You've went more than 6 rolls, so the 7 at that point is more volatile. And that has to do with statistical dilution, that the further you get away from that average, you actually get more likely that it's coming. And then again, people are going to say every roll is independent of the last. But still, just go with me on this one. That the further you get away from that average where it's supposed to land, that it's due. As if any number in the CRAPS game is due, it's the 7 is due, right? So let's talk about some situational awareness on that. All right, let's put some money out there. We'll just use 160 because this would be a situation that would come up in 160. All right, we're gonna get us a come out roll here. And then we'll say we put our 160 across. So let's say it's off right now. Roll number 1 is a 9. 6, 3, 9. Okay. Point goes to 9. That's roll number 1. We're using little white chips to denote our rolls. Roll number 2 is an 8. All right. 6 deuce 8. Gonna win 35. Put that right there, little white chip, that's roll number 2. Four, 3, 1. Okay. Little white chip. We're going to win 50. Let's say it's a buy bet. All right. We got a 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Put that right over here. That's roll number 4. 8. Very nice. 6 deuce. It's another $35 winner. It's roll number 5. This is good. It's going to maybe show us right away. Yeah, 7. So on roll number 6, the 7 came, which is fine. That's the natural average. We might just have to show it without doing it. I was hoping we could do it. All right, so you didn't quite make all your money either on your 160. We went through that last video. All right, so I'm thinking this might be hard to just show. So let's just talk about it. Okay, so let's say you get through your 6th roll, and let's say you got 4 hits in. All right, 4 total hits. Let's just say you hit all the insides. Make it easy on us. So you won $140. All right, you got 160 out there, but you're on roll number 7. All right, so you've got your 6 rolls in. You're not paid for yet on roll number 7. All right. This is a situation you're in. You're in this situation where, let's just say we're on the point of 4. That way it looks right. Where you don't have your money made, right, to cover your 160. You've exhausted the average rolls of the 7 before you should see it. Now what you're looking at is, what do I do here? This is a situation. This is what I refer to as situational awareness. What do you do here? All right. Personally, I think you have two main options and then a bunch of little side options, right? The 2 main options are, first option is if you're at a $15 table, not a $25 table, maybe you reduce down to 96 across. Now you're situationally aware, you're playing with profit, you're still across the board, so you're still getting 2/3 of the numbers. And from then on out, you can kind of do whatever. It kind of doesn't matter what happens then on out, because you'll have made 140 and only have 96 across at risk. So you're going to be up $44 no matter what happens at that point. So that's one option, just reduce down if you are in this specific situation. That option to me is fantastic, right? The other option, in my opinion, is you pull down your 4 and your 10. You pull them off. Now, you still have your inside bets at 110 and you've made 140. All right, now this option, it also makes sense. You're going to make a little more on these bets, and if you do hit one next, you'll be able to put 15 on each one for in profit, still collect, and you can rebuild it pretty quickly. All right, and even if pulling that 4 and that 10, you don't like it so much, it only costs $4 to hop it. You can hop the 4 and the 10 for $4 from then on out, and still be making 35 there. So these are the 2 options that I think make the most sense in this specific situation. If we're talking about these kind of situational awareness plays. Sorry. These options, to me, are correct. The options to me that I think are incorrect in this situation is, A, convincing yourself that this roll's just going to keep going. If you say, oh man, yeah, just smashing inside numbers due to shooting, he's hot, that type of situation and that type of thought process associated with that situation gets you beat on the 7th roll. So when you roll that 7 on that 7th roll, you end up losing. Instead of putting yourself in the position, you've already exhausted all the rolls within one set of the 7, right? Within one run of the 7, you've exhausted what it's supposed to do by going past 6. And guys, this is something that's the actual bare bones of the situation. The situation is you've exhausted the 1 out of 6 probability of the 7. And this is where players get in trouble. They see this roll and it comes out 4, and then it hits all these inside numbers, and then let's say a horn number in there. All right, so they're just seeing this roll as it's just hammering inside numbers, right? Great roll, making winners, and we're put in a spot then where your mind will start telling you, oh, it's going good. Yeah, we need to stay out there, or we need to be pressing. Let's say you pressed some of these, so maybe you don't even have the 140 out, and you're going to have to reduce off there even. There's just a lot. This situational awareness stuff, it's not as easy as it is when people just show it, right? When you're in the moment, when it's going great, you don't want to pull off. But the right play there is to reduce to your profit, reduce to where you're guaranteed winner. And it's because you've exhausted those first 6 rolls. And if you guys, let me explain something about the first 6 rolls. The first 6 rolls are the most important rolls of all the craps game. because that is where the casino lives. The casino lives in them first 6 rolls. Everything after that, if you're rolling more than 6 rolls, the casino loses their edge. And let me explain what I mean by that. So if everything on the craps table is based on that 36 roll, 36 combination pyramid, and then the game is based on the probability of the 7, which is what it is. So all these payouts are based on the probability of the 7 and the probability of the specific number. That's why you get paid on a 6, you have to bet 6 to win 7, because it has to do with that there's 6 ways to roll 7, and then there's 5 ways to roll 6. So if they gave you an even amount, there's no edge. They have to get an edge. So what that's saying is that it's saying that it's going to roll 1 out of every 6 times, and the casino is going to bank on that. All right? If you're rolling more than 6 times every time, the casino no longer has an edge. And that's why dice controllers are so adamant that that's the way to play, because if you could do it, you are taking away the casino's edge. So in this same instance, that's why the first 6 rolls of a craps game are by far the most important. By far the most important for each hand, them first 6 rolls. If you make it through them 6 rolls, you should be in profit. If you're not in profit after those 6 rolls, 2 things is either A, you're not playing very well, or B, you're on the don't. You could be on the don't and obviously not have won anything. Because if you're not profitable, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're profitable in the sense that you've already paid for your hand, but after 6 rolls, you need to be regressing or changing something to where you're no longer playing against the 7. Because at that point, the 7, and I'm saying this in quotes, the 7 gets more likely. What it is the statistics are diluting, and it's making the 7 a bigger part of the pie. So again, I don't have a graphic to show you guys this kind of stuff, but if you go look up the term statistical dilution, you probably can apply it and figure out what I'm talking about. So again, in this situation, that's why you have to play within them 6 rolls, and you have to, if you want to be successful consistently. This is how you build consistent success, is living within the first 6 rolls. Anything after that is bonus. It's like a bonus bet. Because after that, that means that you're outpacing what the game is supposed to do and what the casino is expecting. All right, so let's talk about a different situational thing. And this one's from the dark side. All right, so $100 don't bet. All right, when you roll, whatever number you happen to get, except for that one, 7, you lose. Okay, we need a number, so we're just, okay, we lost. Back-to-back 7s, okay. Don't's not working. But anyways, we're just trying to get a point. I just want to talk about situational awareness on the don't, because this is another thing I hear people talk about a lot, and I don't think they fully understand what they're talking about. All right, so there's a 9. All right, so when you're playing the don't, all of your risk is on the first roll. We just saw it happen twice. We got smacked twice. All your risk is on the first roll. After that, this 9 should not matter. This 9, you're in a profitable situation because you're more probable to win a 1-to-1 bet than you are to lose it. This is the same situation the casino puts themselves in when you play on the light side. The casino takes this situation when you're on the light side. They're more likely to win than you are. All right, so in this situation, you get a 1-to-1 payout and you got the probability advantage. Now, what happens here is you have to understand your situation on the 9. What are you doing with the don't bet on the 9? Are you just setting it there? Are you playing light side after it? Or what are you doing? Personally, I like to play light side after the 9 or any of the don'ts really, because what I'm doing at that point is I'm magnifying my advantage. All right, I'm making my advantage larger than just this don't. Now, not larger in a payout sense, but larger in a probability of winning sense. And so what I do at this point is I would play, let's just say, I would play like this. Let's say I played an iron cross. That means that I get every number except for the 9. At this point, the 7 would be a break even because I have a $100 iron cross out there versus a $100 don't. So let's say I didn't want it to be a break even. I put 30 in odds. All right, so I have 130 versus 100. All I lose on is the 9. The only combinations of dice I can lose on are the 9. So at this point, my goal is to say, okay, I've seen one roll. I'm still playing within them 6 rolls, right? Because even though we're not playing against the 7 isn't great for us. We're only winning $20. And bam, there it is. That was not a 9, it was a 7 roll. So we would only won the $20. Now, if we would have just left the 9 by itself, we would have won 100. And that's the argument for not playing behind, is that you actually lose value on the 7 after you went through the hard roll, right? After you went through the tough roll. All right. So that's some situational awareness. What do you do when your big don't bet gets out there? A lot of guys will play a small don't bet with odds. I don't think that makes any sense. If you're going to play the don't, you might as well play the big don't bet and less odds, because you don't get 1-to-1 on the odds. You get less than 1-to-1. So that's for a different video. All right, but we may have to just show it without rolling it. I'm going to try to roll it. 7, no, we got $100 on the don't. I'm trying to roll a 4 or a 10 because this is a situation on the craps table, back-to-back 7s. This is a situation on the craps table that matters a lot more than most. There's a 3, so we would have got one of those losers back. Matters more than most. And there's a 6, but we're going to say that was a 10, all right? I know it was a 6, but I'm trying to show something. All right, so let's say it was a 10. Bang, now we have our don't 10. If you have a don't 4 or a don't 10, this is the best situation you can be in the craps table. Outside, I guess one other situation is equal to it, but it's so hard to get to. And that would be if you were down to one number on the ATS, like the 6 or the 8, where your hedge on that number and its probability of hitting, and where you were down and you were going to make 150 plus to 1 or more. So if you're on an ATS bet or a repeater bet that needed 1, it's a similar situation to this. But just in normal gameplay without having that situation happen, this situational thing, if you get a don't on the 4 or the 10, and a reasonable don't, not a $15 don't bet, something that actually matters. This situation, if you're not taking advantage of these 2 spots, the 10 or the 4 on your don'ts, then you are losing out on the game. This is the best spot in the whole casino. You can't find a better spot in the casino than this. You got a 1-to-1 bet, and you're a 2-to-1 favorite. There's not a better chance that you're going to win your money than this in the casino. So when you get these situations, you have to make your choice. What are you going to do? Are you going to take advantage of it? Just that 2-to-1 pile odds on there and try to win a big win? I think that's great. I think that's a great plan if you're going to do that. Are you going to take the advantage of your 2-to-1 here on the 7? So most likely you're not going to lose there. So you can put all this out here, and you know you're only going to win. So you make your 7 still valuable, and you put that money out there. I'm also totally okay with that. I think those 2 spots in this situation, if you got the don't 4, the don't 10, are the most ideal. Now, it's up to you on what you think is the right way. To me, they're about equal. And I think if I rolled out a whole video on it, it would show they're about equal. The only problem with just loading up with odds, say we just put our whole roll on this odds, boom. The only problem with this is there's only one way to win this bet, and that's roll a 7. If you put the money out there across and add odds or whatever you're doing there, if you put the money out there across, now you're giving yourself a whole bunch more ways to win. And you're also allowing yourself to take advantage of a long roll where if you just play the don't when you get these two situations, if you just play the don't, then you're only allowing yourself one way to win, even though it's a large win. I prefer, and you don't ever get the long roll. A long roll doesn't help you when you're only on one bet here. Where if you go across these numbers here with your money, you can still add your odds to make your 7 super valuable, but you go across this money. So let me show you what that might look like. Okay, so let's just use what we have here. Okay, we have $600 here. All right, so let's say we put 300, 400. Let's say we do 400 right there. We put our other 200 on the board. All right, another 200 on the board. All right. And I don't know, for fun, we put that on the hard 10. All right, so right now our 7 is worth $300 when it rolls. All of these are all winners, and I know they're not as big, but you're only a little bit invested here. And you're plenty covered here. You roll this out, maybe you hit 15 times before another 10. You know, maybe you're pressing up. And see, it gives you all these options. You don't have to be worried about the 7 when you're in this situation. When you get the 4 or the 10, you should attack that sucker. Now, what's the big whammy is if you hit that 10, it's end of the day probably. It's unless you've rolled a long time and you've built that all up, because I've definitely had that happen where I rolled 10 more rolls and I've already made a bunch of profit, more than I have on this note, and then boom, the 10 hits. It doesn't hurt so bad then. But these are the two situations. I like this way better than just piling the odds on and going for the 7. The reason is because this gives you more options. This gives you more ways to win. There's more action. You're going to win more often. And it allows you to be there for the long roll. It allows you to take advantage of that long roll where just playing against the 10 doesn't. Now, which one's going to win? Let's just say we have it like this. I'll half press the whole way. And let's say our other one, we'll put it out there. All right, another guy had the same thing. So let's see. So he has 600 in odds, 100 flat. All right, so one guy has one way, one guy has the other way. Let's just roll it out and see what happens. We got a little hard 10 right there. 5, 3, 8. Okay. That's a $70 winner. Okay, let's say we press the 9 and the 5. We'll just put this guy's profit right here in the cone. All right. 4, 2, 6. That's a $70 winner. Press the 10. We'll just profit that. So now we've pressed all across. Well, not all across, I guess. And there's an 8. It's a $70 winner. Six, 6, 12. No one wins on that one. 6, 5, 11. Uh-oh. 6, 1, 7. Okay. So in this case, this guy would have done better. But we did give ourselves the chance to the long roll. Now, that wasn't a long roll by any means. All right, we only profited this much. Let's see on this side. 200, 100. 300, 100. All right, so let's see what it was. We know this guy, we know he profited $400. What did this guy profit? He profited $375, but had the opportunity to win all that other money. So again, you know, you really got to think about what is the most important part of what's the most important aspect to you? What makes it, what are you looking for? Do you want just this one good, nice win? Or do you want a chance to have a whole bunch of wins? And so that's what I'm talking about, situational awareness when I talk about it. Not that, oh, yeah, we've had 13 rolls, the 7's coming. By 13 rolls, you should have done something. You should have already attacked something, changed something. All right? You can't just wake up in the middle of it and be like, oh, hey, we got to do something. It has to be a cognizant. You have to be ready to go when all this happens. And you have to play within them first 6 rolls. That's the rolls that matter on the game. Everything after that, you should be 100% situated after that 6th roll. Like, you should not have any question marks unless you're just on a don't bet. And that's the one time where if you're just on a don't bet, it makes sense that there's still some question marks. Because if you're just only playing that, you're just only waiting for a 7, and it could take as long as it takes. So again, guys, I hope you guys like this video. This video is maybe a little more, you have to have a little more abstract thought in the game to understand. I'll try to answer a lot of the questions on this one. I know I don't answer a lot of questions anymore. I try to go through there about once a week and just answer them all if I can. But sometimes, guys, I get so many that, you know, I do have a life. I do have 2 young children. I do have a job and stuff. So just keep that in mind that I'm not ignoring you. I do read them. And sometimes I don't even have time to get back, or I don't always have time to re-show what you're asking me to re-show, and different things like that. So just keep that in mind. I'm not ignoring you. But anyways, guys, I hope you understand this video. If you don't, I know this one can be a little trickier. And I know that there's going to be some pushback from this one, because there's going to be some people, the statistics purists, that are only going to put this game in a box, even though this game is all situations. Actually, you're always in a situation in this game. From the first roll to the last roll, which dictate probabilities and stuff. But it's because it takes a wider view of understanding in the game to get to that next point, to get to that next level in your craps play. But anyways, guys, thank you for your time. This is Jacob from Wager Me This.